Welcome back to Fries with First. I'm your host, Parker, here with Caden, Kit, Josh, Shirley, and since Paxton seems to just never want to be here, the wonderful Mr. Parson. How's everyone doing this morning?
Very good.
Good to hear. So, today's podcast, we got a whole bunch of advice, some good, some bad, the good, bad, the ugly. But before we get into that, Shirley with the sports recap.
All right. Not much really happened today or this week. Monday, we had no school. Tuesday, we had baseball, and our team lost to DC West 12-8, and they are 2-4 for the season right now. Wednesday, the boys' golf team went to DC West. They did great. Thursday, the track team went to DC West. The men's team plays second, and the women's team plays fourth. And today, there's baseball at Buena Vista. Good luck, boys.
And that was just so everyone knows, on Thursday, that was out of 17 teams, so it was fun meet to be at. All right, what advice have you guys been given? Could be good, could be bad. We'll get into that later. But just in general, what's some advice you've been given?
Say, one piece of good advice I've been given is to follow your passion. I feel like if you don't, you get burnt out really quickly with work or school or whatever. And I feel like it's just really a really good idea to follow what you like to do.
I think that's good. One that I like is there's more than one way of doing something. I think especially for me personally in school, like maybe not as much in modern days, but like teachers want to try to think that there's one way to get an assignment done, one way to do something. But in the real world, like when you're given a task in most jobs, it's not going to matter how you get there. It's just going to be how do you get it done. And so I think being able to adapt and kind of go different routes of doing that is smart, in my opinion. And I think that's something that more people can think about, not realize that there's one way to get it done. There's multiple. That's one that I like, personally.
I would say one of the best advice that I've been given is if there's a will, there's a way. Like, even if it's, like, seems impossible or it may take a while, if it's something that you truly like or enjoy or want to get or want to achieve, if you really put your mind to it, that you can find a way to do it. Like, there's always a way to do it. It may not be quick and easy, it may take time, but it's possible. That's probably one of the better ones for me.
All right, what about bad advice? Does anyone have bad advice? One that comes to my mind is that if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Because in my opinion, if it's something that a dream, in that case, should always be something that it's going to suck to get there. It's going to suck to have to work in order to get to that point and be happy, but in that aspect of like a career, but it's also going to suck. It's going to suck to get there. It's going to suck sometimes while you're doing it, but at the end of the day, if you're that passionate about it, you should still love it. That's my favorite. That's something that I've always heard, and I'm kind of like, I don't know.
One of the ones that I'm kind of like, I don't really agree with is you don't need to work hard now. You can work hard later because you have the rest of your life. I'm like, well, that's true. I do have the rest of my life to work, but if I work hard now, I should be in a position later in life where I don't have to work hard and I can enjoy life when I have freedom and I don't have all of this. So that's one that I see where they're coming from, but I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I definitely think that is valid. How about you, Mr. Parson? You're kind of quiet over there. What's some good advice, some bad advice? Let's hear.
Sorry, I got to get past the Fridays with First logo here in the corner. I think what you guys have said has been really good. I think the follow your passion is good, but I get a little nervous because maybe somebody's passionate about playing video games, and that might not be a marketable skill. Josh laughs. Can you relate to this, right? Because I would hope that you're developing a skill set and you're passionate about things that are going to at some point in time actually be a career. I'm passionate about, at one point in time, extremely passionate about food. Not that I wanted to cook it, just that I wanted to eat it. And that was about it. Now, you can't really, unless you're doing some Nathan's hot dog championship contest, that's not going to pay off and not going to help me live in a house that whether it's nice or bad or good or great, whatever it is not going to let me be that. Not going to let me have a lifestyle that I would like to have. So I like the passion. If you're passionate about something, but I hope that like is reflected in a career that could potentially, give you a life that you can live. I will say if I had mine, I say whatever you do with purpose. Haphazardly winging it through life is probably kind of fun at times. But when you don't look at like college, and you guys, I don't know, I'll let you guys talk about your plans if you wanted to, but if I'm going to college and I'm going to spend 4 years and over, I don't know, potentially close to $100,000, I would hope that whatever I'm doing is going to have a purpose that's going to help me. The word ROI comes back. I need a little bit of return on my investment because I can't go get a $10 an hour job and somehow expect to pay off the 100 because I did, I don't know, children's literature studies in some weird. So advice: be purposeful in what you do, find value in what you do, and then at the same time, make what you do valuable to others.
So purpose, I love that word. So we could kind of dive into careers here. What career path do you guys want to go on? And like purpose wise, would you say that you're following that for a certain purpose, and what purpose is that?
For me, I'd say engineering just as a broad. I really like to take things apart, build things, try to discover new ways to fix them. I feel like civil engineering or mechanical, just because the factor of infrastructure, and I feel like it could help a lot of people, or mechanical, and I'd be working on engines, finding new ways to fix a plane engine that might just not work very well. So I don't know. I feel like I could help the general public out with that.
Josh, what do you?
Yeah. So I'm planning on going into retail through Menards. So yeah, I'll be just working with guests and stuff all the time, pretty much.
So how have you found purpose? Because you've been doing that for a while now. How have you found purpose through that now? And have you received any advice, I guess, during that line of work that you plan to use as you go forward in your career path?
Well, as far as purpose and stuff, you're just helping people throughout the store, and you're teaching them or helping with their projects or what they're all building. So yeah, and as far as advice too, as you're working there, you get better advice. You learn more stuff about, through all. It's a hardware store, so you have all different things that you can learn: plumbing, electrical, building, stuff like that.
I think, and sometimes advice, it might not be considered the same, but like experience is advice. You know what I mean? Like as you go through life, as you gain more experience in retail and engineering and whatever you want to do, you might not actually receive like, if there's one piece of advice for you, it'd be this, but the skills, the sort of work ethic and things that you just learned throughout your career, throughout your life, throughout your job is advice. Like you weren't told, or it wasn't, here's a piece of advice, don't touch a hot pan, but you kind of learned, okay, you don't touch a hot pan, you're going to get hurt. You don't play with fire. That's a piece of advice that you weren't outwardly told as a piece of advice, but it's something that you need to know, you need to learn, that you did learn, and you continue to go throughout life.
Yeah, it's kind of like my apprenticeship program that I'm doing right now through Fremont Electric. It's like, granted, I am going to go to schooling for it, but you can learn as much as you want in the classroom, but you have to have hands-on. Otherwise, it doesn't mean anything. So there's always tricks of the trade that you learn on the job. So that may not be like advice, but it's like you said, you learned on the job and you had to be on the job to learn from that. So, it is experience. And like a journeyman for electrical, they're the best of their trade because they've gone through every scenario and they've learned from it, and they've got advice, quote unquote, from all those experiences, and they've learned from it.
And that's one of those things that I think makes sense because, like, you can go in college, and I'm not dissing on college by any means, but you can go through college and get a master's degree or a doctorate and then go into your field of study and have no idea what the heck you're doing. But in that case, I kind of like in trades because the only way to get a journeyman is to go be a freaking electrician. Like, to go there, get work your butt off, put your hours in. Like you said, go through every scenario, and that's how you're going to actually get to that point of where people know that you know what you're doing because you've been at it for I don't know how many years you have to do or how many hours you have to log, but that's how you know how you know you can trust an electrician in that kind of space, I guess you could say.
And I would say that's more than electrician and more than trades, to be honest. Like, McDonald's, you could probably figure it out in a day. I'm going to be honest. No diss on McDonald's, but I don't think it's very hard. But, like, my mom runs a daycare. I mean, it doesn't sound that bad, but, like, it takes a while to figure out what works, what doesn't, how to deal with people, how to manage the money. Like, there's more. It's just a daycare director, but there's, like, finances, there's managing. It's all in one. So, like, it takes experience, once again, to get to that point. And that's why I feel like when you go to a job, say, like, in finance, you start out real low because you don't have any experience, but you work your way up, and that's why you get paid more, is because you have the experience, you have the advice that you've learned through the experience, and that's why you get paid more.
Well, and experience comes, like, the only way you're going to be able to give good advice as later down in life as an electrician is through that experience. And the more wisdom, the more experience you have, it brings the ability to give advice, and not only give advice, but give trusted advice. So, I mean, kind of going off that, Mr. Parson, do you have any advice? You're obviously probably the most wise person here. What?
Well, I'm just going to move over here a little bit. I think you all have great things. There is so much on-the-job training that occurs. Like, I've been in a lot of different, like, I've had my teaching career of 23 years. But I've had, like, summer jobs and this and that where you walk in and you're starting all over again and you're going, okay, what education did I need to be here? Now, sometimes it's you look and you go, maybe I don't need a whole lot because I'm going to learn everything I need to know by walking in. Like, Josh, I look at your situation. You started low level. What was the first thing you did when you were at Menards?
Pushing carts. Carrying stuff out for people.
And you but you get involved in maybe conversations of people working on projects, and you're listening to this guy talk about how he's building a deck, and you're maybe around somebody else and going, what do I need for this? And you're just soaking in a ton of things that maybe you would get at home if you and your dad had that situation, but you're hearing a lot about plumbing and all these people's needs, and even a guy that's looking for bifold doors, a.k.a. me, and telling you all about what I'm dealing with. But the same way, you know, and Caden, you're talking about engineering. You're going to learn a lot in the classroom, but you're going to learn, and you're going to need that, but you're going to get it 10 to 100 times more because now you're out there, mechanical engineering, dealing with conveyor belts and dealing with how these light sensors and these things work. I know electrician-wise, there is so many tips that you learn that, like, you won't get out of a math book because electricians have to take a lot of math. Are you okay with that? Yeah, okay. But when you learn about all the amperages and voltage and this type of stuff that you have to calculate for stuff, but when my buddy who's an electrician works in the union in Lincoln tells me that, I go, my hands are so sore from putting these outlets in. And he looks at me and he goes, well, then what are you doing? He goes, well, you know, you wire on the electrical outlets, and then you stuff the wires in the back of the box. And he goes, Scott, that's why they give you a screwdriver. And I'm like, well, the back of the screwdriver? What are you talking? He goes, no, take the handle and start using that to push the wires. And I'm like, that's money right there. Because the muscles in your hands are totally different when you hold that and push it in rather than trying to use the tips of your fingers. My hands are sore. We're sore every day coming back from work. But that's a tip that you learn on the job that makes life easier, lets you use your energy in more higher level things. I'm going to work in the fuse box. I'm going to work in the breaker box, so that type of thing. What I can say is, if I had to add another piece of information, and I think you guys it's all kind of catching on, don't stop learning. When you get out of school, you're going to get a lot of theoretical stuff if you get your certification in this and your degree in this, but don't stop learning. I notice that right now in technology. I got a degree in mathematics. endorsement to teach computer science. And when I graduated college in, yes, I'll date myself, 2001, cell phones were just on the market. I mean, maybe within 5 years you had bag phones and things like that. Maybe 10 years bag phones, and the iPhone didn't come to Verizon until like 2008 or something like that. So I mean, there's all these things have changed. You got to just continue learning, and wanting to, pick up all the information you can wherever you're at. Because yes, your academics, it may feel like it doesn't have a whole lot of value. Sometimes when you're going through things going, why do I need to know this for this? Yes, Landon, I see that, yeah. But that might set the groundwork for something you're doing later. Doctors, it stands out a lot because they learn a lot of anatomy and they sit down and remember all this and how these things work and how things do. But they probably learn a ton more when they go do their clinicals and they're rotating between a women's hospital to a outpatient orthopedic surgeon, that type of thing. They learn a lot on the job that makes life that much easier for them and their job that much more purposeful. Sorry, a little bit there.
No, I think that's good. I think, personally, I guess I didn't really say this earlier. I want to be like a personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach, and I specifically want to specialize in powerlifting. And in order to do that, you have to continuously, I think it's either every month or every 2 months, you have to actually take a course I think it's like 10 hours every month or 2 months, and to kind of update on the current anatomy, physiology, whatever you want to call it, of the powerlifting area. And that kind of goes into the continue learning. But it's going to be one of those things where I know I'm going to go out and I'll be able to say like, oh, this is how we're going to structure this program. This is how we're going to structure this program. But talking with my clients in that area is going to be how I'm going to actually learn how to, okay, I started with this client. They didn't like this. They did like this. So now I can go on to this new client and be able to say, okay, this is what I normally do, but I heard this might not work best. This is what I need to do better. And I'm only going to learn and be able to better myself through the experience and through the working of it. So I think that with experience comes advice. You might not be able to, like we said earlier, you might not hear outwardly, this is the best advice, this is the worst advice, but coming and doing a lot and gaining experience is what's going to be able to give you advice as a whole.
It's like the phrase, you don't pay for the time, you pay for the experience.
Yep.
Because if something takes an hour, it should take an hour, but the guy gets it done in 10 minutes, it's like, do you want to pay do you want the job done in 10 minutes, or do you want to get it done in an hour and just pay it? It's like, I would assume you would want it quicker instead of paying a guy that would take longer. I don't know. But it comes with that. Once again, it goes back to experience should pay more because you know more about that specific job.
Or touching on that, would you rather quantity over quality or quality over quantity? Like you said, if the dude that gets it done in 10 minutes, what if he does a bad job rather than the person who does it in an hour? Would you rather have it a better quality and not just fall apart right after, or get the dude with the 10 minutes and have it fall apart right after?
Unless it's both. The dude has really good quality and he gets it done in the 10 minutes, and then you got it done quickly, but you also know you got it done well because the dude had his journeyman, because he went and did X amount of hours to be able to go in there, yep, this, done.
Yeah, it can really go either way, and I feel like that's good, especially like in trades. Since you have so many people, you can get different bids, and you can kind of see what their experience is to help you figure out what to go with as far as quantity over quality.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's a good stopping point. Thanks for tuning in on this Friday. We'll see you on next Fridays with Fridays the 1st.